really, really ask yourself question, do I really want to do it? Does it come from the heart? It's just like people say it's nice, but it must come from yourself, not from other people, because other people, they don't live in your shoes. It's not them who's going to work it. And you got no time to impress people. If you, when you really impress people, is no matter what you do it really, really, really well, and you excel, and that's when you impress people. And it's not even that important.
Hey everybody, this is Anthony for a new episode of Your Brother's Podcast. Today my guest is Ludvig Germain Auclair. Ludvig is a professional blacksmith with a specialization in high-end customized cooking knives, and he also has a big background in professional photography. He definitely is a free spirit. When he was young, he realized the traditional school system was not for him, so it forced him to go to his own unique path and make his success. And now because of that, he has more clients than he can handle, and I'm very happy for him. Thank you for being here, my good friend.
Hey, hello, Otto. Nice to meet you again.
Nice to meet you again. So Ludvig, I always like to do with my clients, with my guests, to go back in time when you were little and you had this first feeling that maybe you were different and maybe, school was not for you or you were a bit unique. So let's go back in time, little Ludvig, and tell me how it was maybe with the family and stuff.
Well, actually, I grew up in a big family. We call ourselves a tribe. I had three brothers and sisters, like two brothers, one sister. And I was actually the middle one, like not the oldest, not the youngest. And it was a pretty funny dynamic because like I've had like a very happy childhood. We were moving a lot. Actually, my father was working in forestry.
Mm-hmm.
And so we hang around. We were living close to wood camps and all that stuff. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been like very, I'd say, a non-conventional childhood. Much free thinkers, like free spirit kind of vibe. And they were funny people, like very, very entrepreneurship wise. Like they were doing a lot of stuff also by themselves, and they were pretty daring people, for better or worse sometimes, but in any case, they were true to themselves. And the thing is, I kind of grew up in that environment. And whenever I went to school, for example, and I was just, I don't want to be like pompous or like just arrogant with what I'm saying right now. It was just the point that my perspective as a child of what life was pretty much something else than most other child. Like my normal was pretty different,
Yeah.
in not in a better or worse way, just different. So whenever like when I start to we settled down in Stoneham, for example, and I went to primary school there, and I started to have like quite a lot of friends like here and there, and like just to see the different pace, the different lifestyles, just the way like most people actually were living, which is a little bit more quiet than what I was used to, for example. And it was something a bit strange at first because I wasn't used to it. It was not my normal, but like the more you grow up, the more you have to go through experiences with different people. You get to realize, yeah, well, that's pretty much how it is, and it's been a bit hard. I must say, like that's the paradox with how I kind of grew up and I was raised. It's just that it's been very, very interesting. It made me the person I am, also a different perspective and stuff. But in a way, I was not actually completely ready to deal, hopefully, with how society works because we were a bit outsiders, But it turned out pretty well, actually, in the end. But I'm kind of happy because, like, I did kind of untangle my mind about it, just like figure it out, and now I can deal with it pretty much all right. But I do it on my own terms and try to stay true to myself. And I've never fit actually in the square that society tries to put you, and I'm pretty well. I'm fine with that, But comes with struggle sometimes, but it's worth it. So.
Yeah, that's what I like about you. Like your energy, you're a very laid back guy, and I don't feel like even if you had stress, it will be like I can deal with that. That's not a big deal. And it's like maybe this energy of I don't know, this Viking energy that you have, this look. It feels like you know what you're doing and you can handle things quite well. Am I wrong, or is it just an appearance?
Well, actually, trust me, sometimes I have absolutely no clue what I'm doing, but I just assume it, I don't lie to myself. That's the key, I
Yeah.
won't, I won't just say that. Yeah, I won't lie to myself, to others about it. I don't, if it's just, if you're kind of screwed in a way and you don't know what you're doing, you just assume it up front. You're trying your damn best, And if it doesn't work, well, at least you did it, but you do it for real. You don't, you give it your 110%, you
Yeah.
go, you power through it. But yeah, I've got a lot of doubts and stuff. And for example, now that I'm an entrepreneur, for example, I've had pretty stressful situation, and not like a crybaby in bed situation type, but pretty close to it. And I've had to deal with it. And
Give us some
that
example. Like, people would like the such stories of like maybe lower, like at the bottom of your career or something. Maybe somebody stole something of like your ideas or anything that could be relatable to people who
yeah,
watch this and they want to
that's
start
a
something.
very yeah, that's a very good point actually to point out. Like because I've had quite a couple, but one that was pretty prominent, I must say, is for example, right now here I'm a shared workshop, and I've had to deal, in a shared work environment, but like I was bringing my own equipment to the shop to make it accessible to all other people working in the shop, especially as I'm a blacksmith and I do
Yeah.
mostly metal working. And there's been like some conflict with like, I was bringing my stuff, I was sharing and stuff, and it was an exchange of goodwill. And like you can use my stuff,
Hmm.
and I can work here. We share space; it's all good. But I've had like big trouble, and that's been like a big problem of mine for the whole my life, pretty much. Just like to assume my limits, just
Mm.
say, did you know when to say no exactly, and I always say yes, and it's been like very troublesome at times. And the
Ah.
thing is, people, and they're not mean people. I don't want to bash or anything. Like it maybe wasn't clear enough, but like some people kind of like went too far over my limits. But I didn't say it. I didn't tell my limit up front.
Yeah.
So like I had to learn because I kind of like it kind of accumulated a bit like volcano effect. And after a while, it didn't explode because I I don't do that. It's not my type of thing. I'm pretty laid back guy on that though.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Mhm.
cold blooded on that. But it made me have like a pretty radical change. Like I had to move shop literally because actually the job I do as a blacksmith makes a lot of noise. Basically, you're
I
just
can
bashing
imagine.
steel all day
Yeah.
long. So, and I have like a specific machine, which is a power hammer. They call it. It's like a big 1 ton machine, cast iron. That's just like electrically plugged, and there's like a big hammer ram that just goes up and down, 200 beats per minute, and it's like a 50-pound weight that just bashes steel,
Jeez.
with 40 decibel sound, so it's incredible. It's like a jackhammer, but worse, on
Oh
steel.
my God.
So yeah, like here we have like it's an industrial area, but like there's also a residential area close by. So it was legal. That's one of the reason I went there is because it was in the Quebec City legislation, we are actually on an industrial street, so it
Got
was
it.
legal for me to have that machine as long as I
Yeah.
respect like working hours, whatever.
Got it. Yeah.
But the street just behind, close to the building, is residential, and the buildings are like really close to each other.
Mm.
And it was bolted to the ground. My machine is so heavy, it moves a lot, and the vibration of the hammering was just all going through the floor because like big coming concrete area and
Wow.
just going up the building of the neighbor, and like he's like the owner of the whole block, he rents it to
Terrible.
people, and it just bam 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 bam, it was going crazy, and I can understand it. But the thing is, space was shared. It was my machine, but the noise was actually coming from some other users. I had to figure that out, and it was my responsibility, but it was not my exactly my fault,
Fault.
because
Yeah.
I talked to the whole neighborhood area and say, okay, if I work, just between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m., like from Tuesday to Thursday, like, is it okay? And people were like, no, it's okay but there was some other people who, like, I tried to set limits and I wasn't clear enough, and I had to deal with it. And I was like, yeah, please, could you just
They took
be
advantage
careful
of
with
you.
that? Yeah, exactly. Just like set limits and like just common sense in a way, but common sense needs sometimes more explanation than just
Yeah.
trust people, because it's not the same common ground for all people. So I learned that the hard way, because after a while, like, we almost had complaints from that neighbor, and I
Mm.
had to move shop actually. So I went back to my parents' place in Stoneham. I built another shop altogether
Mm.
there,
And
and
now
that
this
was
new
very
shop,
hard. Mm.
yeah, this new shop is more isolated. Like there's nobody around, so you can make as much noise as you want there.
Well, actually, yeah, there's a couple of factors. Thing is, it's in the forest, so there's like trees and stuff. Like my parents, they have a pretty big lot of ground, so
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
the closest neighbor is like 300 meters away.
Got it.
So yeah, we have peace of mind. It's
That's
pretty
cool.
nice for not just working. It's pretty quiet. I
Yeah.
love it there. But the thing is, this shop here where I'm at right now, it's a very, very lovely shop. I like the mission they have. Like it's cooperative workshop.
Hmm.
I remember I worked in the administration of the whole metal shop administration, logistical, like for formation. For example, I give classes, sharpening classes, blacksmithing classes, and
Hmm.
it's all like it's a community workshop, and it's very acts to social work also, and like there are lots
Yeah.
of like initiatives are very, very nice. We got like a public garden, everybody can work on it, like lots of stuff.
Awesome.
It's very nice. I keep my feet there just to give classes because I love the place. But yeah, I had to move shop, and it's been hard because actually, why I was saying just very stressful is because when I was taking care of this stuff, I had to figure out, oh, could I insulate? Because I tried to find solution first before moving shop, and like I spent like 5 weeks trying to figure out how it can be less noisy and stuff. And during those 5 weeks, I didn't work like on my stuff, and I didn't make money,
Mhm.
and I had to pay bills and stuff, and it's pretty stressful when that's all you're doing. I don't have a side job, so
Yeah.
it's been extremely rough just to handle like the stress, and I didn't have much pillow security back then, and price because it catch me back in lots of way afterwards. But it made me grow as a person, give me more perspective on what I do, and just think like 2, 3 steps ahead nowadays. So I'm more
Yeah.
careful about that.
So the blacksmithing company, how long ago did you start officially, like with your Instagram page and people having interest for that? Like, was it 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or even more?
Long story short, officially it's been 2 years
Uh-huh.
that I'm like really, really doing it like full time, and I don't have any side jobs, and I do it mostly, and like I sell to chefs, for example. But the thing is, I started blacksmithing 11 years ago. I did sculpture classes at like art schools. It's like a pre-university school,
Hmm.
specialized like art school basically in Cégep Limoilou. And there I had a teacher who was lucky enough. I was lucky enough to have a teacher to teach me most of his stuff. And he's a tool maker by trade, like fourth generation. Like his great great grandfather was doing it also, So he had lots of skill to share. And tool making, be it hammers, chisel, whatever, it's all basically steel that you hammer hot so it's soft, and then you harden it, like you quench it, for example, in oil or water, to make that steel very, very hard, to make it like fulfilling as a tool,
Yeah.
work wise, so it gets hard enough to punch, to cut, whatever. And it's basically like a knife is in that class of tools, and it's made in a similar way. It's just the form, the geometry that varies and stuff. And the thing is, like I started like, for example, I was making my own wood chisel for wood carving.
Hmm.
With old like suspension from trucks and stuff. It's good steel,
Wow.
for making knife. Recycling, I like that. And like I've done it for a bit, like 11 years ago when I was at school. Even after school, like I built myself like a very, very small wood, like metal table, or I can make stuff to make like small forge, but very
Yeah.
makeshifty, pretty very small scale, and but I kind of like let it go for a while because I've been a photographer also, and I wanted to concentrate on photography, and I loved it back then, and I still love it, but just different perspective nowadays. But in any case, like another thing is while I was doing photography, I was working in restaurant business,
Hmm.
and because of my background, I also learned how to sharpen tools and knife on
Yeah.
sharpening stones. And one side hustle I had when I was working in the restaurant industries, like my friends were cooks and stuff, I was saying just like, hey, give me a knife for the weekend. I'm just gonna tune them up, just refresh them, make them sharp again. I wasn't as good as I am now, like not nearly as skillful and at
Yeah.
ease with that, but still I was playing and was mostly doing it for free for a while.
Hmm.
And once in a while, I had like those big, fancy Japanese knife, and I was really scared to even touch them. $500 knife. It's a bit scary. If you do something wrong, it doesn't go well. But after a while, I goes, I'm gonna try it. I'm just gonna document myself, go on YouTube, see forums, like people who know their stuff better than I do, just
Mhm.
to see how I can fix it. Because I had a friend, he had like $500 Japanese knife that was cheap, and he was like, "It's good to garbage right now anyway, so try your best and let's see where it goes. It can be worse, But
Yeah.
the thing is, I tried it and it was worse. So I was like, oh shit. But it was like, yeah, okay, but damn. But I was like, you know what? If you trust me still, I'll do my best. I'll keep working on it. And I spent like 2 months on a side hustle just to try to fix that specific knife. And I did like
Really?
tremendous reading. I'm grateful because life gave me a very, very good photographic memory. So like I
Mm.
memorize like 80% of what I read. So I accumulate
Wow.
data and stuff. So yeah, I read a lot about it and I tried my stuff. I bought some stuff. I did some experiment. Then I fixed that knife and I make it as good as new, basically. And I gave it
Really?
back to the guy who was like, because he bought that knife in Japan basically, and was
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's pretty much as good as new, and it looks good too. It was like, that's cool. And that guy like had 20 years experience restaurant industry, and that guy kind of gave me some contacts here and there, and like I made myself a name like in 2 3 years as a side
Uh-huh.
hustle as a sharpener, and it got pretty well. And the funny thing to get back to how I started to do it full time in 2019. I was working in Cavalia. It was like a touring setup, like the circus was moving around the United States and Canada. And like that was a job, like a seasonal job, like just small runs, like 3 4 weeks, then you're 2 months off. And so like in between, I was still working here and there and restaurant stuff. But like I was like, hey, I could, yeah, because I was sharpening knives. I knew how to work the wood, for example. I knew how to forge. Like I was doing quite a good lot of like knife sharpening and stuff. And I went to a friend who had a little forge, and I forged again. Like it's been 5 6 years I hadn't forged, and I was like, this is fun. I could
Mm.
could just try it because I've got like all the individual parts of the process. I kind of know. Like let's smash them all together and make something about puzzle.
Yeah.
And basically, I tried it, and I kind of fell in love, with that, and I really, really love it. And just before COVID, actually, I started to doing. And when COVID hits, I was already working at home pretty much all the time. So it was like, well, I'm just gonna follow, see where it goes. And
Mm.
like I was doing it, I was just mostly showing off, just like pretty much ear to mouth, like small scale networking, just showing, yeah, that's what I do and the way I do it. And like I had some friends who knew about knives and Japanese knife in general, and they were like, oh, this looks good. And just little by little, it just kind of it blew up in a good way.
Yeah.
And
You know what I
but
Oh, sorry, you're finished?
I was just saying that the thing is, I've had like the um, in French we say syndrome de l'imposteur.
It's the
Um,
same. Imposter syndrome is the same word.
yeah,
Imposter syndrome.
imposter
Yeah.
syndrome, because I basically like I felt like a YouTube kid that was trying his best, but like I wasn't properly doing it. But the
Yeah.
day I stopped having a side job and doing it full time, like I'd say after 3 months, because I was just cutting my teeth on it, basically, just
Mm.
because like grinding in a way, because I had nothing else to do. And like I was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that's what it is being a pro. It's not necessarily about making always the best and the cleanest. Because I know like some knife makers who do it as a side hustle for 20 years, and they do like $3,000 knife, and they're very stunning. They're very beautiful, but they're not pros in a way that they do like 2 3 knives a year. They don't depend on it. And like being a pro, it's not always about like making the $3,000 stuff, whatever. It's just about like being sharp, professional, like have
Pro-
your stuff together, and
producing.
yeah, and like delivering, be consistent and reliable. That's something
Yeah.
I've learned also a bit the hard way. And now that's something I'm kind of proud of. Like that's something I kind of figured out like last month, and I'm pretty happy I did.
Mm.
But and it's funny, but now I feel like I'm doing it full time properly, and like I
Yeah.
assume it, and I don't feel like an imposter nowadays. So that's something I'm happy about.
I would love to speak about this. So I have two things coming up to mind. First thing is when you were speaking about trying to fix this knife, I could feel like your dedication to the work ethic to say, I'm going to find a solution, give it to me. You are committed to find a solution. And
Oh,
my mentor, Grant Cardone, is often saying that. He's saying, when you're committed, the creativity will come. And this is a perfect example of you not giving up on this and promising you would do something. And because of that, eventually the solution came to you, which is phenomenal because most people would just quit maybe after a couple hours of work on it.
Well, I'm a pretty stubborn fellow in that kind of stuff. Trust me. I don't give up easily. Yeah, that knife, I remember I spent like 13 hours nonstop one day about it. Like, because I spent like 100 hours in that knife altogether, be it like
That's
reading, working
crazy.
on it, you know. But it's just whenever I do that kind of stuff, I just go like into my bubble, into my zone, you know. I
Yeah.
don't see like time is just melting my hands basically, and I don't see
Yeah.
time coming. I forgot to eat even, you know. That's something I'm careful about nowadays because it's
Mm.
not balanced. It's not a balanced lifestyle to be that passionate and stuff. You have to have like a little just be careful, you know, because you
Yeah,
gotta
but it
eat, you
depends,
gotta
man.
drink. But it's just like it goes by it's just, you know, little sprint time. Like I'll do it like once in a month, like a 15-hour big shift. Cause like last fall I was doing 20-hour shift, you know,
Yeah, that's a
significant.
bit a lot.
Yeah,
20 is
that
a
was
bit over the top for sure.
basically, yeah, but like it was coffee
But
fuel.
I
That
would not
that's not saying.
I would not say, I don't think that if you love what you do and you can do it, because for example, somebody who has a family, is it 3 kids and a wife, will maybe not be able to work 18 to 20 hour shift. But if you're single and you don't have any other responsibilities, but you love your work, I agree with you.
Mhm.
Okay, drink water, maybe drink your coffee if you like it, eat healthy. But I don't think there's something really negative about being obsessed in this aspect, and especially knowing how your brain works. And we can speak about this in a couple of seconds, in a
Mhm.
couple of minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
There's something beautiful about being obsessed when it's your craft, either if it's manual, if it's mental, or whatever work you do. If you fall into the zone and in the flow state and you lose track of time, stay in that zone. Don't try to quit, and don't try to escape it. It's your body telling you, this is made for me. This is my superpower, and I can be a lot better paid than if I go and do a other job, because it doesn't feel like work, even if you have challenges and it's hard. It's a good hard. It's an inspiring challenge. For me, when I have something in my business, I'm like, how am I going to solve this? Some people will say, I don't want to do this. I want to go watch Netflix. I want to go to the bar. I want to continue to study to understand what I have to study to be better at what I do. You know what I mean? So it's the same for you.
Yeah.
I would see that. Yeah.
But the thing is, my because I agree with what you're saying basically, because that's entirely true. But my point is about balance. Because trust me, I've been pretty wide deep to that spectrum of like being zoned. Like, you know, for example, I could work more than 24 hours in a row. You know, like I was pretty crazy on that. You know, and the thing is, zone. There's like a kind of step nowadays. I see it. You know, it's just being a bit more pragmatic, actually. It's just that I'm still in the zone. I'm still having fun in a way, but like it's getting to a point where I stick on such small things that are so they just like, you know, they eat a lot of energy out of you. You know, it's just extremely tiresome. Like that, like 0.5% that swallows pretty percent like all your efforts. But like after 12, 13 hours, there's like a step that I used to go across where each hour I was working on was absolutely counterproductive. And
Mm.
the simple answer was I needed sleep, I needed rest, I need food, water, you know, just to let it go for a night and come back in the morning, have a clear mind, you know, and just have more perspective. And slept 4 hours in a row last night. After 40 minutes in the morning after, it was like that, you know, it was fixed. And I
Wow.
kind of like I've actually pinpoint where that exact threshold is in my schedule. Is whenever I work more than 12 hours a day.
Mm.
Every minute, hour I do more is counterproductive.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, I explored it. I tried it. You know, I've reached it. I know my limits nowadays because I had to cross them over. And nowadays, because I've had like a big pattern in my life, every experience I've ever done to go way over my limit. And it's funny, my mom, she's got like, she's a very wise person. I love her, by the way. She's got like a very interesting perspective. I don't know if she picked it up somewhere else or she invented it. I have no clue. Probably she's seen it somewhere. But like, there's your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
There's like the outside your comfort zone, which is like bigger circle. That's where you grow up and that's where you play. That's where you expand yourself, you grow up as a person. Like beyond that circle, there's the damage zone.
Interesting.
And that's what she told me. And trust me, I've been in the damage zone more than enough. And the thing is, I didn't make the difference in my mind between both. And when you cross over to damage zone, you still learn. You still explore stuff. You can get more perspective, but trust me, you're gonna leave a couple feathers more than if you didn't went over it. And the thing is to know where that zone is in whatever aspect of your life. And that's what she told me. And I tried to live by that motto, by the way. It's just my own perspective. But and like you have to explore outside your comfort zone to know where it's at. But like for some people, it's going to be something. For some others, it's going to be something else. And me 5 years ago was something. Now it's something else. Sometimes like I have like a bigger, like I expanded my comfort zone. Sometimes I actually kind of shrunk it down, different things. We all like move on in life and we adapt. But the thing is, like to go back with schedules and hours and stuff, it's also because like, I put myself a lot of pressure, because I was mostly taking orders. That's something I'm just starting to do right now, just like as myself out of my mind, out of my heart, and just like put it on sale on the internet local for people to see. And if they like it, they're going to buy it. I've never done that ever.
Yeah.
I'm just doing word of mouth, life like that. And like people come to me and you tell me what they want, and it's a good thing because like it's guaranteed money if you deliver, so like that's the safe, like it makes you feel safe, like money and work wise, because you'll have bread put on the table because there's work coming in. Like I had like an order log that for 6 months, I was basically booked for 6 months.
Beautiful.
But
hats off to you, man.
But thank you, I appreciate it. But the thing is, it's like sorry for the pun, but like a double-edged sword. So
the blacksmith joke.
Holy cow! No, that's gonna be the last one, I hope. But it's just like, of course, you have guaranteed job, you have guaranteed money. Like people come to you, it makes you feel proud, you're doing stuff. But you don't sit on your laurels anyway. You must not. That's the perfect recipe for failure. It's just sitting on your ass, and you don't do that ever. But the thing is, it's just like it's fun because it's entertaining and makes you explore stuff that you wouldn't normally always do. But for example, the question I was asking myself after a while, because most of my job when I'm doing custom work, I kind of like follow the whole process through with the client. Like I take like a lot of time to ask them like how they want it. Like I did a little form where like they can answer question the way they want it. Like I've got an explanation, my knife, the way process I do it, like it's a 5,000 word document I put in side pieces with the form. It's very exhaustive, very, very lots of details. I go through it. I'm pretty open about it. And people, they love it. They feel like, oh, they're taken care of and stuff. And I like to do it. Actually, I love to do it, but it's always about balance. Because I was just doing that and spending like 20, 30 hours a week just doing like feedback calls with my client. Oh, I've got this, and oh, that handle, the wood didn't glue well, I have to start it over. I lost like 5-6 hours there. It was like eating a lot of my time, and that's time I'm not spending in the shop actually doing knives. And it's all about balance again, because the thing is, I've been doing only that for 2 years now, actually, right now. And the way I see it is like it's very fun, it's very nice, but it's not balanced. I need to do also some of my own stuff, because the question I actually ask myself is, am I a product provider or a service provider, or both in a way? And the answer is pretty much both. Mm-hmm. But if I'm true to myself, I will be more of a product provider, and a service that comes with it as a product. But I mainly sell knives. I kind of sell myself and like my skills and stuff also, that's for sure. But in the long run, if I want to keep my mental integrity and keep sane, I need to have more balance. So, for example, in the future, I'll still do orders, but a smaller fraction of my work will be it. And what I feel is also it will benefit the clients that I will have, because instead of like being usual like grind like of work, it will be like a little more specific. It will come at a premium price tag too, because it's very, very time worthy. And
Yeah.
so, but the thing is, it will deliver better products and I'll give plenty of time for it. And I can also, the thing is, because I do my own stuff on the side, I can do more exploration and expand like my skill, my craft myself, and take time to do side project, and get better perspective. And that will trickle down to the custom works, for example. And it's all about balance. And nowadays I've decided, like, for example, I finished my last order last week and I'm starting to do like other stuff, like also knives, but also like woodworking tools, gardening tools, and just I don't try to lose myself and expand myself various different things, but just to play a bit, change a bit pace. And yeah, so it's
Let
fun.
me there's something I want to say about that. I think it's interesting that you finished your work and now you're curious about exploring different avenues without losing what you're doing already. How can you say so for people who are maybe used to do just one thing and they feel it's time to explore other things, but maybe they're afraid to try something new, or they don't know where they should lead their direction or their curiosity. How do you help them to just go after what feels good, or go after what like is maybe new to them? And any tips for that for beginners?
Just so I understand clearly what you're asking, it's just like, for example, somebody who's got like a 9 to 5 job, like he's pretty well in that, like he's got the good vibe he wants, like family, whatever, like it's going well, but needs just a little kick more. And like there's something like a passion, for example, that person
Something's
had for
missing.
like 20 years, like that. It's like, oh yeah, I could try that. If there's one thing personally that if I could speak to myself 10 years ago to do, because like, but I don't have the same perspective of most people on that, because I was like jumping head front, in life, just like, just bull run, and
Rocket ship.
like, yeah, the thing is, nowadays I'm much more careful,
Yeah.
I kind of burn my toes once in a
You're a
while.
helmet now.
Yeah, pretty much. And I don't run. I walk, because that's the thing. What I say, most people, for example, want to learn new crafts, just like learn to walk before trying to run, and just take your time. Do it at your own pace, and once in a while, maybe just kick yourself. But for example, I don't know. Like I have a friend. Okay, he's a like instrument salesman. Okay, but he started doing like pottery, ceramic working classes. Okay, just for fun. Just side hustle. It's not even like doesn't sell the stuff just because it's relaxing stuff. And he started by just going to a class. Just have an introduction, have like the basics and stuff, and just like to see if he likes it or not. I have a taste of it, and he really, 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 it grew on him. Actually, really loved it, and little by little, he started to play. He went more to that school. Then he bought himself like a
This tool,
clay turning tool, just to form like the pots and whatever, and then he bought himself an oven. Like it's pretty spendy, like it's pretty expensive actually. When you're a craftsman, you buy your own stuff, it goes fast really quick. So except if you whatever your financial situation is, not my business, but like I suggest, just go step by step and try stuff, like have some sort of network, or like I'm speaking logistically nowadays for right now about tricks, and suggestion, but I'll go on the mental aspect just afterwards. But like logistically, just take your time, don't go too deep into it too fast, just go at a step the way you feel at ease with it, so you keep the fun. You do it for fun. It's something that must be nice. You must come to that place and be like, oh, I'm so happy to be here. It must stay like that as much as you can. Because trust me, when it's your day job, there are days that suck. But that's all right because if you see the big picture,
Yeah.
you know why
Yeah.
you're doing it, and you choose that and you assume it. But the thing is, it must stay fun. For example, me in the photography, that's something that happened after a while. When I was doing like contract stuff, it wasn't fun anymore. I kind of hated it for a while. And it
Um,
made me very sad because I used to love photography, for example. And I've learned a lot from photography. And all I've learned through photography, I try to kind of like remember that when I went to the knife making business, for example. But yeah, also like because I was talking about like very logistical stuff, but when talking about mindset, like be daring to do that kind of stuff. Um, like simply when you think about that other thing, be it like I was talking pottery, but some people is I don't know, like marathon running, like sport activity can be, I think, in similar dynamic. Um, if it comes, like I don't know, not even from the mind, but you think about that stuff and it uplifts you, it feels
yeah.
good. It can't be wrong. No matter the scale you do it comes from somewhere that makes sense, even though it's not rational, and that's something you must trust, in my opinion, you know. And basically, I'd say, why not, And again, with the logistical aspect I was talking earlier, just do it at your own pace and with your means, the way, like with your own possibilities. Like maybe you could not do it on full scale right away, leave your job. I don't, that's something I don't recommend, leaving your job straight away, actually.
No.
Because like you must, and ask yourself what you want with that stuff, how you project yourself. Like you got to keep it like a day to day, but it's not a bad thing to try to project yourself in the future, where you see yourself with that stuff in 6 months, a year from now, and then you come back 6 months, a year later, and you check back that list, like, oh, damn, that's not exactly how it went, but at least you tried it. And
Yeah.
it's interesting, but really, really ask yourself question, do I really want to do it? Does it come from the heart? It's just like people say it's nice, but it must come from yourself, not from other people, because other people, they don't live in your shoes. It's not them who's going to work it. You got no
That's
time to impress people. When you really impress people, no matter what you do it really, really, really well, and you excel in it. That's when you impress people. And it's not even that important. We don't really care. We want to make, for example, when you give product service, you want people to appreciate what you're doing, but impress, it's yourself. You must impress.
and I love that.
It's
That's a
not
good
worth it.
quote. I
Oh,
was
because like
sure.
so many people do stuff to impress people. It's so shallow. For example, you cross the street, you get hit by a car afterwards. Who's gonna care? About like no, seriously, because that's something in life. I
Yeah.
lost a lot of friends either by like suicide, cancer, or whatever, and like I've
Mm.
had myself a near-death experience like 7 years ago, and yeah, that's something to change your perspective. Also, I must say, because if life can end like any time, and like as long as you do something that feels right, and if you were to pass out and die, it's at least like, yeah, I've done what I had to do. That's what went through my head when it happened, actually.
Yeah. Live
And
without
yeah, that
regrets. Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, you're always gonna have like some regrets, but at least there's stuff
Try.
that
At
you're
least
proud
try.
of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't try to impress people with. Yeah, that's a bit like I diverge a bit, but yeah,
No,
it's
it's
it's,
again, it's
it's
powerful what you're
just.
saying, Ludwig. It's very
Oh,
powerful.
thank you.
Uh, what you just said about if somebody would face a near-death experience and they could feel, wow, no matter what happens today, I'm proud of what I've achieved in this world. No matter your
Yeah,
age, 30, 40, 20, 80. Look, that's a very powerful wisdom nugget here because if you have such experience, maybe an accident or a big disease and you really don't feel well, you're in hospital or you're healing at home, and you're like, man, if I would pass away right now, so many things I haven't tried, and it would be like this heaviness and emptiness. And I had the same feeling, and people know my story from 2016 when I had this not drug overdose, but like hospitalization, and I was thinking I was dying. I had a heart attack. It was not a heart attack. It was just panic attack, just to
yeah,
very high degree. And I was yelling, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die, Grandma. I don't want to die." And from this moment, my life was never the same because I could see I was not living in an authentic way, and because of that, my body was responding and all my behaviors were telling me, Anthony, wake up, wake up. This
Yeah.
is not your path, man. This is not your product. This is not your industry. Go find your health back and go after what you really love. And life will reward you when you go this path. And you're a very good example of that, because this blacksmith is, you must be one in a million that I know that's doing this job. Like the only guy I know that's doing this and making an income that is not just like a hobby or, as you said, 2 knives a year. You're living and you have a good salary from that and you love that. That's,
Yeah, I'm getting there.
yeah, it's very impressive, man. So yeah, props to you. And the mental that you have, the mentality of what everything you're saying, it's the wisdom you have at your age, and I'm well almost the same age, but it shows that you've been through a lot. And most people who are used to comfort will not have this mentality because they're just used to numb themselves with quick pleasures and distractions. And this doesn't make you grow. But you've been through a lot, and it shows how you speak. So thank you for these last comments. It was very interesting.
Nah, but it's just like we all live like our own stuff, like that's, for example, I always joke about it. People, you've been doing so much stuff, that's so much job. But yeah, I didn't went to school after high school, so like I had time for it.
Yeah.
But like for example, it's funny because another thing that I find quite funny about, like when I talk about what I do and people are like, oh, you're so lucky, they say always, and they're not wrong. I'm not saying they're wrong, but they say, oh,
Yeah.
you're so lucky. And at first it kind of pissed me off, I must acknowledge it, because it's like as if they were saying, oh, you're lucky that it goes well, it works, but like I felt wrongly that it was like dismissing the whole work, that tremendous,
Which is hard.
absolutely monstrous amount of work it required to go there. And it's just like, oh, you're lucky, oh, you could, it's like, then I was like, hey guys, I've got like basically a high school degree. I went to post like the sculpture class, for example. I didn't finish the whole class.
Mm-hmm.
So I did the year. Only I need
Oh, sorry. Can you repeat, Ludwig? We lost the connection. How long were you in the art school? We lost connection.
Just-
Can you repeat that, please?
just a year, basically. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, no, it's okay.
All right, cool. I went to arts. I went to art school just for a year, basically. I didn't finish the whole class. It was a 3-year class.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I need to breathe some new fresh air. So I went traveling abroad, like overseas, and I experiment new things and stuff. But the thing is, yeah, basically, it's just like I made the choice to do these experiments, these experiences, and like the thing is, I didn't have like a stable job, like I didn't have like a 9 to 5. I don't have a car. I actually rent at my place the workshop, to my parents' stuff, but I still don't have much in my place, especially with COVID. I had to move around, didn't want to stay like in the city,
Yeah.
shut her down, so I did quite a lot of sacrifices, and like some things I bypassed because I had a dream, like I didn't have like a like pension, stuff like that. I didn't have safety. I used to be extremely broke, like crazy broke, like basically, and people are like, oh, you're so lucky. I'm like, yeah, but like you have a car, you have a safety peace of mind. You want to go 2 weeks like in holidays, Cuba, you can do it. Me, I'm not struggling, but I'm grinding, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But it comes with a price, and it's not that it's good or bad, right or wrong. It's just when you put the sums of like benefits and just like how it costs to get it, it finally kind of evens out, and it's just better worse. There's a part of luck. That's the thing. With time, I kind of realized that my upbringing, my perspective, the way I see stuff, it helps a lot to do my own stuff and do something that pretty much very few other people do,
Mm-hmm.
And I've been lucky to have like a very, very good memory and like have good intellectual assimilation capacity to learn new stuff, like sorry, it's not bragging, but like I learn stuff fast. Basically, whatever I do, I learn very, very fast, and pretty
Yeah.
well. I'm very focused, and that's a gift I received from whoever's up there, and,
Whoever's up there.
and the thing is, I am lucky, because through that whole endeavor, I've been lucky to make it work on some stuff, but it comes with tremendous amount of work. And nowadays I kind of see that most people actually they work hard. Everybody's working hard. Everybody's
Mhm.
trying their best. Mostly, like maybe some
Yeah.
exception, we don't care. It's just people are trying hard in their own means, their own ways, their own perspective, with their own tools. And it's just applied differently. It's not right or wrong. And I respect a lot more than I used to, because I used to be actually very, very sorry for kind of swearing, but like little prick about it. Like
Yeah.
people working 9 to 5, wasting their life away. But the thing is, I kind of realized that no, they're just trying their best. They have their own motivation, and they're all so valid and stuff. And it kind of made me grow as a person. And nowadays, I see that people see it in my work also. And when they
Mm.
say I'm lucky that they're not dismissing the work
Yeah.
and whatever. It's validating. Actually, nowadays, I receive it as a very, very gentle compliment, and I'm
Mm.
grateful for it. And it's important to be grateful.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Um, can you tell us a bit about so when you have to handle with clients? So earlier you spoke about okay, they have specific needs and it's custom made, so you have to interact with them. How were your strategy to make sure that they were satisfied and like stay professional, stay up to your game? And did you have any strategy in terms of messaging? Was it just on the phone? And how to assure stellar quality customer service in your experience?
Um, the truth is, at first, I must be very, very honest. I've
Mhm.
had some missteps
Yeah,
when I was handling client service and stuff.
but that's like
Because
everybody, man. Me
yeah,
too.
but it's learning. That I call it like the auto didact scholar fee. you know, when you learn by yourself, it's pretty expensive sometimes.
Yeah,
And you learn the
self-learning
hard
tuition
way.
fee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's pretty efficient.
It's like a
It
tax.
works pretty. Yeah, it works
It's a
pretty well.
penalty. It's a fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go straight to prison. Don't pass go. No,
Yeah,
but just kidding. But
exactly.
it's just. And one thing I kind of realized, it's just, it comes back to what I was saying a bit earlier. Am I like a service provider, or like product provider? And I was trying really, really hard to be a service provider. And there's one thing particular, my experience. When I worked in restaurant business, I was a waiter and barman. And I've actually had some sort of like mental breakdown, like burnout from
Hmm.
restaurant business. And like one thing that really, really drove me nuts is that, like that just like, oh, hello, hello, just like put yourself mask and fake
You're fake
face.
positive, yeah?
Yeah, and I used to be extremely good at it, and now I'm completely bad at it. I can't do it anymore for the life of
Mm,
me. It's just
it burnt
no,
you.
I can't. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I am not. I want to say something
Oh,
years ago. You got me?
yeah, yeah. Now you're back. Okay. Can you repeat that?
Okay, cool. Of course. And just like for example, 2 years ago, I had like two clients in particular. For example, they they were asking some pretty specific stuff, and they were pretty knowledgeable about knives. And the thing is, I went like a lot, through the process, the way I was doing it, like everything, how they went to their handles, the shape, all the details, like very, very
Hmm.
specific technical details. And I like literally like babysitted them, like to also suggested stuff. And, um, like they were very, very thrilled for that knife, to come, both of them,
Yeah.
And the thing that happened with them is that miscommunication was very, very, very problematic because I was giving schedules, I was giving due times, and because I was starting up, I was not meeting them because there were some like little not challenge, but like unplanned events that were happening that just
Yeah.
buzzed my whole schedule, and I didn't have much pillow to deal with them, not much buffer, and thing is, it didn't deliver. And like two of these people, it was gifts, gift for
Gift.
like birthdays. So there was a
Oh,
due date that you had to respect,
oh,
and
jeez.
that hurt,
Oh
that
man, I
hurt a
can
lot.
imagine the pain. Oh,
And I felt like, Yeah, I felt like that.
hiding in
You
the
know what I
closet.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like crying stuff, because I'm very hard on myself when I fail. Not as much as I used to because I'm more
Mm.
balanced with it, but I used to be extremely rough on myself. And, you know, and that's something nowadays, just it comes back also to learn to say no. And I feel like the best service, for example, when I learn to do it nowadays, it goes very, very well. It's just that I assume who I am, what I'm capable of, what are my limits, and I tell them up front to the people so they know what I'm up to, and
Yeah.
we can play in those parameters. And I ask them what they're up to, what they want, and we reach in the middle, and we stay to that, and we keep in touch, clear, crystal clear, no vague gray zone, always like clear, 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 and as simple as possible. And since I'm doing that, and I assume myself stellar, it goes well, and it's not that complicated. And the thing is, I know that I'm a craftsman first and foremost. Of course, I'm a salesman. I have to sell myself also because I'm an entrepreneur, but
Yeah.
I am more true to myself when I say that I'm providing a product that's very well made. There's like an after sale care that if you come back, ship, yeah, I'll fix it. There's no worry, but I'm making knives. I'm not like serving plates and stuff. It's not exactly the same, and I'll be courteous and stuff, but I must assume my limits and to work well, and the client will benefit of it because it's going to go well. It's going to go through the proper process. It's going to be reliable,
Yeah.
and nowadays it just goes better like that. And yeah, so now, for example, I don't give due dates and I don't take birthday orders anymore.
That's a hard lesson,
I
man.
don't
I
do it.
can just imagine.
No,
Jesus
because
Christ.
I could do it. For example, when I know it's very easy and I feel like doing it for friends, for example. Yeah, I still do it
Yeah.
once in a while, but not for just everybody and stuff like that. In big project I'm not sure of. I try to stay within like what I'm very, very
Be certain.
confident,
Yeah.
that I can deliver. And for like just come back to your question, since I'm doing this, some people have been turned off by it. But what I came to realize, that might sound arrogant, but I assume it wholeheartedly. But
Uncensored, man. Just speak your truth. That's what's important on this podcast. There's no,
yeah,
don't
that
judge yourself.
small disclaimer is just because it can be misinterpreted. But
Doesn't matter people's
I
opinion.
am,
If they can go see a different podcast if they want a politically correct and vanilla ice content.
cool, man. I appreciate it, though.
Just be
But
yourself, man. Open up.
these, for example, these people that were complaining, I'm more than happy to direct them towards some other knife salesman provider that will suit their needs better. And I'm completely transparent with it. Or for example, my knives, they cost like average like 600-700 Canadian dollars, like close 500 US dollars. They're pretty expensive, but I'm definitely not the most expensive in that like specific niche. There are some people who are much more expensive, but still, it's a lot of money for a piece of steel and wood that cuts. Like I know it and I assume it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, for people, for example, that went, it's so expensive. Why you sell it like that? I used to explain the whole trick, the whole 14-hour single piece, but I don't do it anymore. I like it much less, I just say, that's what I do. That's what I'm worth. I assume it. It's worth it. But if you don't feel like paying for it, I respect that. It's your own thing. There's no worry. But if you want similar quality and you want to pay less, these guys, these knife, for example, there's like Knifeware in Ottawa. I'm just name dropping a bit because I love these guys. Sharp Knife Shop in Toronto, Stay Sharp Montreal, also like very good knife shop. They have $80 knife and $8,000 knife, the whole spectrum in between, like it's all good stuff. There's nothing bad, and you choose, you go there, it's total service and it's Japanese. And what I do is basically extremely similar, if not identical to Japanese knife. It's the same construction method, same heat treating techniques. It's very similar, or the same steels, same handle construction. It's the same and feels the same, cuts the same, So like when I suggest alternative, I suggest like Japanese knife, for example. And these guys, when I tell them, okay, go there, and you see that knife, $180, I literally take the time instead to give them a link to that website and suggest them somebody else that's going to do it well. People are like, well, that's so thoughtful of you. I appreciate it,
Yeah.
you know, and they're thankful. They're like, okay, okay, yeah, I can't pay $600 for a knife, but this guy's, you know, he's all right, you know.
Yeah,
And they
that's
always have
good.
like a step brother of the dog of the neighbor of
Of
somebody,
the
you know,
stepbrother of the
somebody,
dog. Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
just like
Remember that.
somebody else that yeah, he's got like a lot of dough to drop on a handmade knife. And like, ah, yeah, go see that guy, you know. I didn't buy a knife, but yeah, it's fine,
So
you
you
know.
live, you have an abundance mindset. You don't, that's, I think, let's extract value from what you just said. The abundance mindset of you don't lack clients, and because you're so confident in your worth, so that no matter who comes to you as a lead, if it's too expensive, you know where to to push them away in a
Yeah,
polite and courteous way. And people who will
yeah,
want you, they will stay and they will be grateful for your service. So you
yeah,
don't waste time on the clients who don't want to pay six, seven
yeah,
hundred, and
yeah. And I
everybody's
don't
happy.
waste their
Everybody
time.
wins. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's perfect, man. Very good
Yeah, and the
lesson to
thing
learn.
is, you know, these guys, for example, you know, like at first they kind of like pissed off when I tell them the price. You know, they feel insulted, and I'm like, sometimes I just slightly go into details. You know, it's like, are you aware of what it takes? Are you just do you know anything about it? Just I'm just asking them like
Yeah.
sincerely, you know, and they have no clue, you know, and I'm just like you know, it's basically like I works like in between like 60 to 90 hours a week, you know, and I make 3 knives, 4 knives in that time, you know, and all the rest, they're like, oh, damn, that's a lot of work. I don't go to technical details. They're like, okay, okay, now I see. Yeah, and
Opens their
I'm just
mind.
like,
Yeah.
but the thing is, you know, for example, lots of people are like, oh yeah, we must encourage like handmade, local craft. And I work also a lot with recycled materials. Like some of my knives are like 100% recycled material,
Hmm.
and that gives like a very good marketing value. But
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to. I'm sorry, I don't want to bullshit people. You know, it's good stuff. You know, I do it because it's good stuff, and it happens to be recycled material, locally made, handmade. You know, but
Yeah.
if the quality is not there, I wouldn't sell it. You know, and yeah, basically, you know, that's one thing I see. Yeah, you're gonna pay 500, but I'm gonna give you a lot for your dough. You know, you're gonna have your great grandchildren will have that knife in 100 years. You know,
Yeah.
basically, so it's an investment if you really want it. And you know, and like for these people, that's where I suggest they don't want to pay. They want similar like heirloom quality. That's where I suggest like Japanese knife makers that are a little bit more like on the volume scale, but they give very, very, very good product. And yeah,
Hmm.
basically. I kind of forgot my point there, though. I gotta be honest.
Uh, yeah. Well, just it was coming back to you know how to navigate through people and lead them to the right people, who will be the better fit for them, for their needs. And that just, it's a business lesson to just to know yourself, to know what you're good at. And if people don't understand your craftsmanship, and that's good not only for manual work but also for coaches and people who are service providers, you know you're worth your money, then people will pay it. And if they don't want to pay it, they can go see somewhere else to a cheaper place, and that's okay
Yeah.
too.
The thing is, I'm lucky to have a niche. You know, I have a very small niche.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
very, very well identified, and it's
Yeah.
easy to pinpoint. You know, and that's one of the lucks I've had in my business endeavors.
Yeah.
That so when I was a photographer, I could like I wasn't like very niche in my photography for like when I was doing or clients and like not custom but corporate photography stuff. I was doing whatever could pass through my hands. You know, I was trying
Hmm.
my best,
Yeah.
but nowadays it's very niche. You know, so that helps. It just simplifies things a lot because I'm
Absolutely.
dealing similar products and it's more reliable and that's very helpful because for example somebody who does like business counseling of course, yeah, it's mostly about like helping people to deal with the whole like endeavor of being businessman, like the logistical aspect, mental aspect, and stuff. But it's a wide spectrum, and I think some people are more geared for that kind of stuff than others. For example, me, I think I'd have a hard time to be a good business counselor because I'm too specific on stuff, and I would stick on some points and forget some, and that could be
Yeah.
detrimental. For example, and different people have different skills, quality, and you were saying, for example, navigate through people. It's funny because I used to be extremely unable to deal with people because I actually, yeah, I'm in the. We're talking a bit about it earlier, I think,
Yeah.
but Yeah, basically, when I was young, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. And long story short, my short stories are long, actually. That's I can't realize nowadays. But in any case, that diagnosis was dismissed when I was in high school because they're like, no, you can socialize stuff. When I was a kid, I couldn't speak to people. I was basically just in my head playing sand, branches, whatever nature, for 6 hours straight, just zone out. And I wouldn't speak to anybody, but like if somebody was talking the word dinosaur, for example, I used to be passionate about dinosaurs, and I was just like vomiting information for 45 minutes straight, Latin names, where they live, their era, Cretaceous, whatever, like I go crazy, you know. But then they stopped talking about dinosaurs, just go back to set playing, just being mute. And it was a bit sketchy at first, but some people are a bit like troubled by it. But I wasn't harming anybody since.
It
So
was you, man. It was
yeah, but
just
the
you
thing
being
is,
you.
like, for example, I didn't do like second degree. When people say stuff and like they mean something else, that's something that was absolutely alien to me as a concept. And just humor. I didn't have humor. I didn't know what was a joke. Like basically, that's how deep it was. And,
Mm.
just to resume it, basically, like in high school, especially, I began to do some sort of social anxiety, and like I realized that okay, yeah, I don't get what most people do. I was walking. I thought everybody was laughing at me, even though they were not laughing. I was like getting paranoid about how people would see me. That's something I didn't have when I was a kid. Like little by little, I kind of learned to um, calculate like how people work. Just see patterns. And,
Formula.
yeah, just like the way I speak something, yeah, it's gonna come across as creepy. So like it's good, you learn it, you go through it, but like it was pretty analytical process. It wasn't like natural, but with time, and because actually that's one thing, like the whole motivations, because even though I was mute when I was a kid, I love people. I love to be around people. It's just I didn't like to talk. It's weird, but yes, I was like, oh, I want to be. I was sincere in my willing to know how to deal with people, and I did it, and it worked. Nowadays I'm very fluent, but it's still, I have to. So just like not every morning, like a prep session, it's just like I have to put myself in that mindset, because
Calibrate
whenever I'm
yourself.
alone,
Yeah.
yeah, whenever I'm alone in the shop, I just go like full mute, like zone. And when people, for example, come in the shop while I'm in that zone, sometimes my first reflex is not even speaking, just look in. I'm trying to wire it back,
Process the environment.
and. Yeah, but like so, for example, when I was doing like after high school, like it went pretty well like then, but still I had some stuff to learn, and even because I work in service industry, it was like I was talking about comfort and like damage zone. Like I was pretty much in between comfort, outside
Mhm.
comfort and damage zone. So it's been extremely tough. It's been tough. Because I was working like 70, 80 hours a week also, so I was tired. And I will acknowledge this, like working restaurant industry, I've had a drinking problem, and it's been pretty
Yeah.
troublesome for a while.
Mm.
Now it's gone, it's fixed, no worries there. But like it's been rough. Like the whole environment was a bit toxic for that, and I wasn't wired tough enough to deal with it at first.
Okay. Can
So
imagine.
yeah, that came with a lot of struggle. But the thing is, like I've learned a lot about people and dealing with people, because I was just my job was socializing like all day long, basically, and learning how to read people and stuff. And I'm really glad I did this, but I wouldn't do it again. And when I think about from where I'm from, like psychologically wise, to
Mhm.
what I've done afterwards, I'm like, shit, I did that.
Yeah.
Even now, I'm like, how did I do it? And the thing is, nowadays, I just try to calibrate, just balance stuff, like just not go too heavy, too hard, and whatever. Be it socializing extremely, like, because I love to socialize with people, but I need my quiet time. I need to go and charge my batteries and stuff, and
Of course. Yeah.
be
Of course.
alone. Yeah, I'm a loner guy mostly. I love people, but I'm a loner. It's a bit paradoxical, but.
But some people are like this, man, and it's okay. I think you just accept and love who you are, and when you are with people, they love to be with you, and when you have your time alone, it's okay. I have also introvert side. I like to be in my home and work on myself, study, read, watch videos, but I love to be with my family too. So people are different. Some people will be
Yeah.
very extroverted. You just discover, and you stay true to yourself. Ludwig, we have to close very soon because I have a lesson very soon. So my last question for you today is, if we go ahead of time, let's say it's 5 years from now in 2027, and people go back at your episode and they'll listen to your episode, what you want them to remember of your episode? What do you want them to remember? Like your wisdom, something maybe a piece of advice that represents who you are and your experience here.
I'd say no matter what you do, no matter what endeavor you go, like whatever your life plans are, just like stay true to yourself. Like it's extremely important to like exactly know where you stand on stuff in life as much as you can. Like you can't always know it, but like at least do the work, to ask yourself questions and like how I feel towards situation, towards people, towards like future, towards past things I've done. But like to know yourself for real. Don't hide to yourself stuff. Don't lie to yourself, and don't do stuff. It will happen that you will do stuff that is in your fiber and that you don't feel like doing, and that's part of the learning process. But the more you go through things, you have to just know what is you, and deal with it accordingly to respect yourself. And in my honest opinion, that's one of the keys to happiness. Success, okay, cool, success, but like to feel like wholly happy, truly happy, and in whatever you do. And after that, like the rest can trickle down. It's not like a magic solution, but that helps a lot, and it can't hurt, and few people actually really, really are very diligent about this that I know of personally. But these person, you can pinpoint them, and they feel like a light around the other people. I'm not saying other people are dark or wrong, but they can help other people just by really get themselves to their full potential and be the best version of themselves they can be.
Be the lighthouse.
And it's stimulates, and everybody can do it, but like in their own way, whatever the medium, whatever the channel, just be yourself, but like for real, and assume it. And if it displeases people, just smile back at them, tell them to be happy, or tell them whatever you want. Actually, you do it whatever you want, but just assume it. And just smile. And when you smile and face people like that, they feel disarmed, and they're a bit buzzed. So it's and people are happy. You just praise them, and it's sure. Yeah, it's all about love, yourself, others. So that's what I have to say, buddy.
Ludwig, thank you so much for your time, my friend. This was a great episode. I was not expecting as much wisdom, like from such a young guy. We went deep, and it was very powerful. So thank you so much. How can people can connect with you online to see your work, to speak with you, to say thank you for this episode, whatever they want to do with you?
I have my old photography Instagram account that I'm transforming slowly but steadily into a knife making account, or I'll do another one, but we'll go there. But I'm very, very active on Instagram. Facebook a little bit less, and I don't have yet because I do word of mouth. I'm still building up like the whole website and all that stuff, so it's still a bit like homemade stuff. But like through Instagram, it's Lotfong, LOTFONG. On Instagram, you see like photography from my past travel, Nepal, Asia, whatever. But like you have like those memories highlight. It's all knife related stuff, and I post once in a while also knives. But in a very, very near future, that page will transform itself to knife making only. And there, if you follow me on Lotfong, you'll see it all through. And I post stories really often in the shop, and also musical stuff. I'm listening when I work. Some people, I love music, listening and learning new music. So yeah, you can see a lot of stuff.
That's the best way to connect. Thank you, man. So, and for me, guys, this is Anthony Rivest, your host for Your Brothers Podcast. You can follow me personally, Anthony Rivest, on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram principally. And Your Brothers Podcast will be on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and other platforms. So thank you for your time. Thank you for subscribing, share with your friends or your family. And if you want to support me financially, you can click on the Patreon link in the description. I accept donation to any amount if you love the content to help me grow this channel and have more amazing guests. So on that note, I sign off. Thank you so much and see you next time.